Hello. Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of How to HR. Hi there, I'm Kristy-Lee, your host of this weekly video series where we bring you a strategy, tactic, tip or tool that's going to assist you in growing your team, building your business, and leveraging your people to create the successful business that you are seeking to create. And of course, deliver yourself freedom in the process, because that's super important and one of my key values. Now, this is episode number 25 of How to HR, so ticking along nicely. And before we dive in today, I just wanted to give you a reminder that if you're seeing this video and you have a topic that you would love me to cover on a future episode of How to HR, please just pop it in the comments below and I will be really happy to answer any questions you have on a future episode or cover any specific topic or area that you're challenged with in your business when it comes to your team. How to HR is our weekly live video series live here in our Facebook group and on our YouTube channel each and every Thursday. And as I said, we're here to give you something really simple, really strategic, really practical that you can take away and implement straight into your business to help with your team. So let's dive in, I should say, to today's episode. Now, today's episode number 25 is how to grow your business by leveraging the support of VAs or virtual assistants. So many of you find yourself in a position where as you're growing your business, you know that you need extra help. You know you're doing the things that perhaps you shouldn't be doing, that you don't enjoy, aren't your area of expertise. But when you're in business, you do all the things and you've got all the plates spinning. And it gets to a point where in order to grow, you need to engage people into your business. But sometimes it can feel a little bit daunting or overwhelming to go straight to hiring an employee. Perhaps you've got some concerns around the longevity of the workflow. Perhaps you're just feeling a little bit anxious and it feels a little bit heavy to go straight to an employee. Or perhaps you've got a team of employees at the moment, but there's some things that just no one has the particular skill set for, or they're just taking too much time out of your current employee's day. Or you know you need some extra help, but again, you're not quite ready for an extra employee at this stage. These are the perfect times to be leveraging support from a virtual assistant. Now, if you're not familiar with what a virtual assistant is or does, a virtual assistant is someone that supports you in your business virtually. They don't work as an employee. They're typically a contractor or they work for an organisation that supplies these kind of services, and they are there to support you with generally very specific parts of your business. You might have a virtual assistant who's a little bit like a PA for you. My virtual assistant supports me with some of those administrative tasks and also some virtual personal assistant tasks. You might have virtual assistants supporting you with something technical or perhaps editing of your podcast. I've got another virtual assistant firm that does that for me as well. So it can be all manner of things. Perhaps you've got a virtual assistant that is a specialist in social media and is doing that aspect of things for you. Or you might have a virtual assistant to do something like a big bulk piece of data entry that needs to happen that you don't want to take the time of the rest of your team to do. So a virtual assistant really can be engaged to do any number of things for your business, but quite often they are very specialised in their specific area of expertise. One of the key mistakes I see business owners make when they are looking to grow using the support of VAs is they expect that all VAs will be able to do all the things. And it's just the same as employee, guys. No one can do all the things. You hire a specialist customer service person because they are an expert at customer service. You hire a specialist IT person because they're an expert at IT. It's exactly the same with your virtual assistant team. You hire people that are specialists in a particular area to give you that support, but don't expect that every VA is going to be able to do all the things equally brilliant for you. I think that can be a mistake. Now, often when people think about virtual assistants, they think about outsourcing to overseas and international virtual assistants, and that is absolutely a great option. It can be really, really cost effective because the rates of pay in different countries. There's a load of availability, plenty of people out there to support you from international countries, and it can be a really great tool to use in your business. But you can also use a local virtual assistant. My two support services that I use in a VA capacity are both based here in Australia, one in New South Wales, one in South Australia. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be dealing with an international person. There are lots and lots of options for VAs and VA support services that are going to support you locally or internationally, whatever works for your business and for you. So how do you go about leveraging the support of a VA to help you grow your business? Where to start, what to look for, how to make sure you're engaging the right person, and all of those things. I think the best place to start is really understanding what it is that you want or need to outsource to a VA. Now, you would have heard me talk here on a previous episode of How to HR about an exercise that I call the clean slate exercise. And this would be the perfect place to start if you know you need some extra support, an extra pair of hands, but you don't know exactly what that looks like or what to give that person or what skill set you need to go looking for. I would start by doing the clean slate exercise, really mapping out what it is that you want to be able to outsource to a VA. That's going to help you get crystal clear about what kind of skills and experience you're going to need, what sort of expertise you're looking for, and perhaps whether this is one VA or multiple different VAs to do different things. So see this as an outsourcing model, and it can really beautifully integrate with an on-site or employee model of work. So it's very likely and possible that you will have a mix of both. And I actually think that's the best model to go with, because you're leveraging the best of both worlds without overburdening yourself from an employee payroll perspective. So once you're clear on what you want this VA to be doing for you, then it's about going to market. Now, I'm a massive fan of asking for referrals for these kind of people. Everyone I'm working with in a outsourced capacity at the moment have been referred to me by others that I know, like, and trust in business. So I would firstly always go to my networks and say, hey, I'm looking for a virtual assistant to do these things. Does anyone have a recommendation? Personally, I think it's a great way to start, because those recommendations are always so valuable if I get them from a trusted source. I'll also go to my existing VA team, so my actual personal virtual assistant or my tech virtual assistant or reception virtual assistants, and ask them whether they have anyone they work with who is in this particular niche that I'm looking for that they might be able to recommend. I know for a fact that my personal virtual assistant has a whole range of different people she works with with different clients who are specialists in different areas. She works with a Facebook ads specialist for some clients, for example. She was the one that referred me to the podcast editing expert because she had worked with that company with her other clients. So your existing virtual team are actually a great source of referrals because they have worked with lots of different outsourced partners before. So go to your network, go to your existing virtual team and ask for referrals and recommendations. It's definitely one way to go. You can also look at businesses that actually specialize in helping you find the right virtual assistant. I know there is a company based in Sydney called Virtual Elves. This is what they specialize in, particularly in finding overseas-based virtual assistants and matching them with your needs. So there are specialist businesses out there that can help you find these people. Or, of course, you can just good old-fashioned put a social media post out, let everyone know you're looking, and ask for people to put themselves forward as the best option for you, because if you put a post on social media, you'll have a million virtual assistants ready to support you. So you're looking at options, you've cast the net out and you've got people approaching you, you're talking to people about what you need. How do you know who is the right virtual assistant for you? So the couple of things I do, I would treat this very much like I'm finding an employee. So I would conduct an interview. I would ask really strong interview questions to understand whether this person has done the sorts of things that I'm wanting them to do. I would ask them things about their areas that they're not particularly skilled in and that they, it's not their area of expertise. So you understand where the boundaries are. I certainly would be asking my virtual assistant potentials how they communicate, what the communication process is like, because you want to find a VA that communicates the same way that you prefer to communicate. I've certainly worked with people that have very clearly said they're verbal communicators and are wanting to be on the phone every time to work things rather than email. That's totally fine. But if you're a person that loves email and hates getting phone calls, that might not be the right VA for you. So just consider the communication styles and how that works. And I also ask them how they work with their other clients. What does their week look like? Do they time block and work for specific clients at certain times? Are they available all the times for all clients? And if that's the case, how are they prioritizing their work? So just getting a feel for how they work in this space. And I also ask them why they chose to become a virtual assistant, because it gives me an indication about their motivation to continuing in this line of work. So you treat it very much like you would treat an employee process in terms of finding the right VA. Now that you've got them, how do you leverage them to help you grow your business? A couple of key things I recommend. Firstly, have a really solid onboarding process. Just like any employee, those first few days, months, hours that a VA spends with you are critical to them feeling ready and engaged in participating in your business. So having a very strong onboarding process where they get to know how you like things done, how you like things communicated, and how you want to structure the workflow is really important. I also encourage you to focus on systems. What systems are you going to use to communicate between yourself and your VA, and how is all this work going to be shared? Because the last thing you want is clunky systems or things just not flowing as smoothly as they can be. So you might have a project management system such as Monday.com or Asana, or even Trello. I use Trello, it's super easy and very effective, but you might have something a bit more sophisticated like Asana on Monday or Excello or any of those programs. So you might be wanting to use those and make sure your VA can use those as well. Are you communicating on email? Do you have Dropbox? Do you have Google Drive? All of those things are things you want to be sorting out very quickly. And thirdly, and most important, you want to have some very clear deliverables, objectives, milestones, KPIs, whatever you want to call them, ways in which you can measure how effectively this relationship is working. And the quicker you set those up as an expectation and a pattern of behavior, the quicker things will start to flow. Remember, just like any employee, our VAs want to know what's expected of them and how they're going against those expectations. They want to be led. They want to know what it is that we need and want, and they're ready to deliver that for us. Now, a great VA will actually take control of that, and they will help guide the communication so that they have all the things they need to succeed and for things to be simple for them as well. But it's something you really need to participate in and make very clear and known. So we have, in my world, we have checklists that are done every week. They're very simple, but are things that we know need to be achieved every week, that I'm responsible for, that my VAs are responsible for, and they get ticked off. So everyone transparently knows where we're at with that process and when things are completed. So getting those systems in place really early can be super beneficial, and your VA can absolutely help you do that, which is a bonus because often you're just so busy, that's the last thing you want to be doing. So to recap today's How to HR, it is absolutely a great way to grow your business by leveraging the support from virtual assistants. The key things to remember are being very clear about what it is you need your VAs to do, finding VAs that have that particular skill set and expertise, and be very willing to have multiple VAs work on various different specific tasks within your business. Set up systems, processes, and an onboarding program that are going to help VAs settle in quickly into your business, and have a very clear pathway for regular communication so that you're constantly touching base with them. You know where they're at, they know where you're at, and that any issues are then going to get headed off straight away at that point in time. But if you're feeling stretched and you're thinking, I'm not ready to hire an employee, or I'm not ready to hire another employee into my team, I do encourage you to consider leveraging VAs as part of your growth strategy. They work beautifully as your initial growth strategy, but they also work brilliantly when they're laid into an existing employee pool as well. They can become such an important asset to your team and will really help you keep that growth momentum going as your business grows. That's it for me from today. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode number 25 of How to HR. I'll be back next Thursday for next week's episode. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you have any topics that you would love me to cover on a future episode of How to HR, please just drop a comment below and let me know, and I'll make sure we get that done for you. Have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you next Thursday for next week's episode.